Welcome everybody, it's tractorchute here for another Friday challenge. In the upper middle portion of the map of Polar Night, it is our good man Hashbrowns, our favorite breakfast food. And if it ain't your favorite breakfast food, you better freaking eat some eggs. In the lower middle portion of the map here, we do have his opponent. It will be ScotchTape playing as the blue Protoss here. And of course, being Protoss, we will say Zealots and his choice of Tempest or Carrier. Should be a half decent game, I would have to imagine, as it is a bronzings once again here. Both these players are bronze. It is 30-11 as far as the APM goes, and the good old proto tab does show us we are going to have a good old pylon first, believe it or not. There we go. It does look like the wall off for ScotchTape. Meanwhile, the mineral line wall off for Hashbrowns. So both of them looking to do a little bit different placements of their buildings here. And in the meantime here, ScotchTape is going to move himself across the map here to scout out Hashbrowns. ScotchTape, fairly interesting name. You can call yourself Stapler, Pencil, Hole Puncher, whatever you want. I guess he likes office equipment, so he's going to move himself down to the map. There does have a few rally points right at the entrance of his opponent's base here, doing a little zigzag movement here. Will get himself freely into that base to scout out what he needs. We'll see nothing important other than the fact there is a gateway and a pylon down, and does realize that the wall off is at the mineral line. So we'll actually start getting attacked right away, so that should be enough to chase his probe at least around in circles for now. Take a look at the good old units tab here. We are 13-12, so both these guys macroing at fairly similar speed. And we do not have any Chrono Boost coming out of ScotchTape. But at the other end there, we know how to use Chrono Boost. We do have Chrono Boost coming out of our good man Hashbrowns. It does look like an early gas for his opponent. And he does get the gateway down as well there at the entryway. So walling it off pretty nicely here. Gas goes down for Hashbrowns as well, as that is pretty much going to be a necessity in this build here. Does look like he did end up getting his opponent. Did he end up killing that? Yes, he did get one worker killed. So Hashbrowns is up with 1-0 on the worker kills here. Does get a second pylon down for ScotchTape. And he has that gas going now with 2-3. He is going to fully saturate the gas. So 3 workers on that gas. Meanwhile, 3 workers down on Hashbrowns gas. He is still, even with him in the probe count here, surprisingly enough, as his opponent isn't using Chrono Boost. He asks him what he's doing here. What a talkative young Hashbrown that is here. He says next, don't know what Nexus, maybe he's building a Nexus early, I'm not entirely sure. Sending a probe into my base like that. Oh, scouting, there you go. Well, Hashbrown's trying to get some tips from his opponent here. Apparently he doesn't like to scout, but he is finally going to head out here. No, he is not. He's actually going to expand me to Nexus right now, so is following lead with his opponent, but his opponent doesn't actually have a Nexus. So he might be in for a little bit of a shock if his opponent likes to push. Opponent is finally starting to use that Chrono Boost, so very well done there, and is getting himself out to his first Zealot. Cybercore does finish off here, so I have to imagine we will see Warp Gate technology come in here. And that will probably be the case anytime soon here, I would have to imagine. But now we do have a little bit of a macro advantage for a good man Hashbrowns, depending on what his opponent likes to do. If he pushes pretty hard with the Zealots here, might be able to counter the early Expo. But we'll soon find out if that's going to be his option here, or if he will just expand himself at some point in time. So we are going to macro ourselves up a little bit here. I don't see anything overly special happening out of our good man Hashbrowns. I would have to imagine that we are going to see the Stargate fairly quickly here if he is going to elect to go anything other than Zealots. And he's asking what his APM tab is at. I will show you what is it at. It is 38-20. He is whooping your ass in APM. I don't know exactly. I was going to say, how in the hell is he supposed to know what his APM is at unless he is some sort of mathematician? So we'll finish off that. Mothership core does come around here. Click around. That makes you a lot better. I don't know if Hashbrowns is anti-APM or not, but either way there, it leads me to believe that he is. So we are going to need a couple cannons around that middle line. Very well done there. That will definitely help prevent any sort of scouting, as well as reaches a little bit at the top of the ramp. So very good placement of that. And we are actually going to go with that Nexus, so very well done. Opponent is going to macro himself up as well, and move down his Zealot and his Stalker and his Mothership core down the bottom to try and wall this baby off here. We can probably speed this thing up to 2 times. It doesn't look like anybody has any intent of moving out early here. So we will go into a little bit of turbo speed here. Another cannon. There you go. There a cannon going down. Did end up trapping one of his probes, but that can happen to anyone, my good man. So don't feel all that bad, Hashbrowns. You're just a little Hashbrown. You might not know how to keep your units free and mobile. And he is actually going to have the good old Artosis pylon helping out all these gateways, but although this one pylon might actually be able to help power one of the 3 gateways there. So we'll continue to macro ourselves up. Do have 21 working on there, 21 working on there, so very well done, fairly even so far. Or in fact, the Hashbrowns does have a little bit of a lead on his expansion here. Take a look at the income tab. Wow, that's about almost a 400 mineral lead. Very well done there. Not quite much of a lead on the gas. Doesn't have any lead on the gas actually. Here's behind on his gas. And take a look at the units tab. We have 0 units for Hashbrowns and 1 Zealot and 2 Stalkers for his opponent of ScotchTape here. And do we have it out yet? No. Do we have Warp Gate technology happening? I was going to say, do we have a Stargate out? But no Stargate as of yet. Fairly interesting build he has here. Working on 1 gate. Don't think 1 gate is the most convenient build, but there's the Stargate finally coming down there. Is also getting upgrades for his ground weapons for the units that can't use it because he doesn't have any Zealots out yet. But I have to imagine that we will see some Zealots pretty quick here. In the meantime, his opponent is walling that off quite nicely. Does get himself a pylon down there. Has the forge down. He's getting his ground level 1 as well. So both these guys fairly even so far. 4 gate at the other end here. The only advantage is that he has a lot more production buildings for ScotchTape and is also getting down the good old robo facility. We can ride this 2 times for quite a while apparently here, as nobody intends to do anything too early here. And we are just cannoning the heck out of our base here. Wowzers, he committed to those cannons. Has himself 7 cannons down in his natural here. And looks like he's electing to get a 3rd out as well here as he's killing those rocks off here. Putting some pylons down. Getting it all ready to start building a Nexus for a 3rd. In the meantime, there his opponent has amassed himself up 4 Stalkers, 1 Zealot. And of course, both these guys do have a Mothership core out so far. In the meantime, there we are going to go with a Mortal. So very good choice there. Does get the Immortals out, and looks like he might actually want to push. We can finally slow this down here as we're going to start pushing really hard here. I don't know if these cannons are going to be enough here. This will be very, very interesting to see how this is going to work for him here, as they could elect to sneak by and go right into the main if they choose to do so, or they could stop and attack the cannons. I don't know if that's going to be the best maneuver. I would definitely go straight for the main, or he might just macro himself up at the Naga Tower while he builds himself down a proxy right in the middle of the map. So looking pretty good so far for a good man of ScotchTape. I would have to say that he's looking to be ahead early in the game here. We are going with Carrier is going to be our choice. Very good choice by Hashbrowns. I've been looking forward to seeing the Carriers. They're one of my favorite units. Don't get used very often. Twilight Count's coming down as well. So leads me to believe we are going to see some Zealot legs. Not entirely sure why he's building all these ground unit buildings when he only has 2 gateways on the field here. But either way there, he might just go with minimal Zealots and a Carrier type build here. And there we are. We are slowly getting towards the base, trying to determine when he wants to move out here. Maybe waiting for a couple more warp-ins, so he feels pretty confident. Has 2 Immortals on the field now, 11 Stalkers and 4 Zealots. Like I say, our opponent only has the 1 Mothership core, but look at the count, 71 to 45 as far as the worker count goes. Looking at the income tab, way up. Well, up about the same amount, still about 300, just about 400 at certain times there. And there we go. Carrier does hit the field here, so could make a little bit of trouble for his opponent, but at the same time, his opponent does have the 13 Stalkers on the map, so should easily be able to focus down any 1 Carrier so far. But he does have 3 Stargates on the field here, so he's going to start pushing pretty hard with these Carriers. Carriers are obviously going to be a very gas, mineral heavy type build here. The 3rd is ready to go down now that he does have the rocks out there. Does plant it down, had to kill himself off one of those cannons though, just to fit it in there, or pylon, not entirely sure what he ended up killing off there. In the meantime, there, the opponent, I think the opponent is wasting an opportunity, to be honest with you, as he could have pushed a little bit earlier and might have had a win here, but ScotchTape is just sitting back, and this is where a lot of those lower level leagues, they end up killing themselves because they don't push early when they should. They're more interested in getting themselves the most massive army so that they feel more confident when they're moving in the base there. Like I say, probably could have had the game, but at the same time there, it's tough to determine what your opponent has. You really need to start scouting a little bit earlier. Now the opponent has himself a fairly good unit count out here. Does have himself 2 Carriers and a few more on the go here. So very well done by Hashbrowns, I will say that. The 3rd is slowly finishing up, and opponent is still electing to slowly move out. He moves out probably about a centimeter at a time. Have to imagine that he might want to start pushing somewhat soon here, as it is fairly even in the food count, 114 to 112. If he elects, or if he allows his opponent to get too many Carriers on the map, he's going to be in a lot of trouble. Very good job building a few more pylons around the outside there. That will definitely help power those bases there. You definitely want to have at least 2 to 3 pylons powering your buildings there. The last thing you need is for a pylon to go down and lose power to 3 or 4 you're building at once. There we go. Nexus does finish, so once those long distance miners do get back there, they can start mining themselves a little bit shorter, save themselves a little bit of energy. And we will still continue to sit back here, and we will try and find something to talk about here. Football, the Eagles did go down to KC. KC 3-0. I think it's the first time they've been 3-0 in eons. Did take down the Eagles last night there with a very good game. Like I say, KC's looking pretty good now. They have Alex Smith on the field. Jamie Charles looking better than ever, as he always has. And, yeah, outside of that, we'll just sit back, relax. Nobody intends to move out here. We can probably go back to 2 times here until one of us elects to move out here. Oh, he moved backwards. Does have Colossi on the field as well here. So definitely getting into a very good mixture of units there with the Colossi, Immortal, Stalker, and Zealot build here. Basically has everything except for the Stargate build. And let's take a look. Does he actually have any Stargates on the field? No, he's actually going off a 3 Robo, and Does a lot of gateways. 3 robo and 6 gateways, so very heavy on 2 bases here. Meanwhile, his opponent definitely doing the out-macroing job in this game here. Is finally getting down to a robo facility. So very interesting choice. I don't know if he intends on getting an observer, as I did not negate the observer. It's not an offensive unit, so you could technically build it. You might get docked a few points for trying to use extra units like that. Like I say, try and stick as close to the rules as you can, but like I say, nothing did negate observers, so it will still count. If he does elect to do so, that's going to be the only build I would have to imagine he's going with, that robo facility. And we are going to slowly get into an Archons as well here. So very interesting unit compilation. Now he's going to start pushing himself ahead. Is it going to be enough? There's 6 carriers on the map here, so that's going to be a lot of trouble, especially with the cannon count. He's going to start pushing now. Now it's time. Kills a long distance miner here. Backs off a little bit. Is he going to actually push himself ahead here? Putting the Colossi out there as they have the range. Very good job. Will force his opponent out here. His opponent's going to have to expose those carriers now. So here comes the opponent here. He's trying to get rid of as many cannons as he can. He's pushing ahead here. There he sees the carriers are out now. Gonna have to start focusing those carriers down. That's exactly what he's doing. Archon's going to work here. They're going to try and finish off as many as they can here. And the carriers are really going to work here. Might get 2 carrier kills. And he is continuing to push ahead here. Those carriers in a lot of trouble here. A couple of them only have 4 carriers slowly building up the intercept, or 4 interceptors, sorry. And he is actually going to push ahead and kill this expansion quite easily here, forcing Hashbrowns back into his base. It's a lot of trouble for Hashbrowns. He's going to end up losing this base quite handily to his opponent. Opponent needs to continue macroing up here. Needs to continue warping in units to make sure he doesn't just focus on the micro game here. And he will slowly finish it off. There he goes. Finishes that off. We'll get a lot of probe kills at the same time here. all those probes are just sitting there for the shooting, and we'll take out every one of them. They're not even moving. They're not running away. Kills off a lot of probes there. Actually came out ahead in the probe count now. 46 to 44 for probe count. We'll back off a bit. He doesn't have the stalker count to kill this off as a very heavy... Well, actually, he might have the stalker count. That is 13 stalkers. A lot of stalkers. So he could actually try to kill him off here. Does have himself blink? No, does not have blink. But we'll end up getting the Immortals up there. Immortals are going to go... Or, sorry, Colossi. Colossi is going to work there. There's the carrier sit back there. We'll try and focus them down here as he's continuing to push ahead here. Does force those carriers to push themselves back into the third base here. So very well done there. Is controlling outside the base here. Hashbrowns in a ton of trouble. Don't know if Hashbrowns is going to have enough to fend this off, as his carrier count is sitting at 6, but at the same time his opponent has so many freaking stalkers there, they might actually be able to handle this. Does have himself a third out at the same time. So very good job by ScotchTape, really putting the pressure on his opponent here. And he is actually going to try and take down that rock wall, does look like here. That is that exactly what he's going to do? No, it's not at all. There he goes. Now he's finally taken out there. There's the other carriers on the high ground here. We'll try and push them, but that is enough to scare him off here as he pushes his opponent back. Opponent might retreat, or his opponent might try and find a better engagement for himself here. He is going to sit right on the outside of the base there and force Hashbrowns onto his 2 base here. Force him to sit back at the back of his base. And he will slowly build up that carrier count. Once he gets that carrier count up to 10, 11, 12, it's going to be a lot of trouble for his opponent. But opponent does have 19 stalkers and 1 Archon on the map to at least try and fend this off here. Do have a lot of Chrono Boost left on the Nexus. A little bit surprising that he's not using that. But either way there, we'll sit back and relax for a little bit here. No more Stargates down here, but did have the 1 out. So he did get the Observer out, so did elect to go Observer. Like I said, the Observers were not negated in this game, so you could definitely use that for the scouting. And he is going to start pushing ahead here. There's a lot of carriers, and they're all full of interceptors there. So this could be a lot of damage going down here. They're going to go to work on the stalkers first here. He's going to start focusing down all these carriers here. Don't know if that's going to be enough. It's going to be very, very close. They're really melting away at the stalkers. Stalkers are down to 13 now, doing a fairly decent job. He's committing to it, not scared at all here, not pulling back. They need to focus down the carriers and stop focusing down the interceptors. He is actually going to lose this entire army. Wowzer! Kills every one of those stalkers except for 1 and pushes the army back, continuing to kill off here. Might actually get a couple of Colossi killed, but of course carriers are not the quickest unit in the world here. Is down to 7. Oh, actually up to 7 there. Did have 8, so only rarely end up losing 1 in the end there. Lost 2 or 3 altogether, but did get a couple more building there. So very well done so far for Hashbrowns to fend this off. Opponent really needs to start getting a lot heavier into his stalkers, or could even try to push those could have pushed the Colossi up on the high ground if he wished during the carrier attack there. But the carriers are now going to start pushing his opponent back here. So they're slowly moving out with the Observer, make sure they can see any sort of cloaked unit if need be. They're going to continue to push this army back, forcing ScotchTape back to his base here. And he is actually going to try and engage it with the whopping 6 stalkers. Don't think that's... Oh no! He's leaving all his Colossi right underneath the carriers. That's not going to be a very good build here, as he is actually going to lose a lot of those units. Are not going to be a very good move there, sorry. And we'll take out the rest of those stalkers, and now he's going to really go to work on these Colossi that are just going to sit underneath and get killed. Not entirely sure what he's doing. He's just allowing all these Colossi just to sit there and get beat on here, as they're just going to work here, losing a lot of units. And they will continue to push forward. There's another Colossi getting caught out of position. Does take down the proxy pylon. Another Colossi goes down to 3 Colossi, 1 Stalker, and 2 Immortals. And this is a lot of carriers pushing out here. Like I say, he needs to start warping into straight Stalkers. Get some more gateways on the field here. Otherwise, he is going to be in a ton of trouble here. And they're slowly pushing themselves across the map here. He is up to 8 one more time here. And we'll eventually get the 8th one up. Oh, no, sorry, that is an observer. There is the 8th carrier. It is slowly going to get up here, but he's still going to push ahead with the amount that he has. All 7 of them going up here. We'll take out another pylon. But his opponent, once again, has way too many pylons, so it's not really going to hurt him in the food count here. And here we go. Once we go to work on the main, this is going to be a lot of trouble for his opponent. Taking out all the pylons first, trying to unpower everything here. This should unpower a lot of buildings here once this last pylon ends up going down here, if it does go down, as his opponent is trying to get in the back end there. There we go. This should pretty much be GG, barring a miracle here, as he has unpowered some robo facilities, killed some robo facilities, killed some gateways. This is a big trouble for his opponent here. 8 Stalkers are on the field. That is nowhere near enough to take out this carrier count. That is way too many carriers. Going to melt all those Colossi quite easily here. This looks like it is GG. Looks like our good man Hashbrowns has this wrapped up here as he kills off every unit there. ScotchTape says GG. My condolences go to you, ScotchTape. My congrats to you, Hashbrowns. That was impressive, my good man. Can't wait to score that one. I will give you this to finish our day off here. Just kidding. We got lots more to go. Finish off this game anyways. We will leave you with this. If you've never built a house before, I can't imagine you've ever climbed Mount Everest, especially due to the fact you don't have the right armor on and you only got 1 pistol left, but you've been sleeping all day. You be good. Don't hurt nobody. Peace.